Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this narration of the web novel Humans Don't Make Good Familiars, taken from Reddit with the author's approval. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 47. Suma's Point of View. Madam Selakar, I called out into the room. A small blue head popped out from around the corner, and a female's voice asked, "Hello." It was the same woman I'd seen so long ago in that naming court. "Can I help you?" she asked as she fluttered around the corner to meet us. I began our introductions. "Hello, Miss Selakar. I am Suma, and this is my partner, Jake." "Hello," Jake said in as friendly a voice as it could muster. Him speaking caught her off guard for a moment, but she barely let it show. I'm sure Jake didn't notice. "I understand you are responsible for the study and development of new magical runes within the Academy," I stated. "Am I correct in that?" "Yes, was there something you needed? I have quite a bit of work I need to finish up," she said. "I'm sorry, Miss Selakar, but I have a question and a favor I need to ask of you," Jake began, "but I think you'll find it quite interesting." "I'm sorry, but I have too much work to do, so I'm afraid that I won't be able to help," she stated flatly and began to fly away. However, just before she could, Jake called out a question that made her freeze in place. "How would you like to study the effects of inversion chaos magic on runes?" She looked around slowly, very interested. The feathers around her face and wings were raised, and her besmears on her dermal nodes responsible for the glittery sparkle, as Jake puts it, began to shimmer ever so slightly brighter. Can you repeat that?" she asked hesitantly, probably thinking that she'd misheard him. "How would you like to study the effects of inversion chaos magic on runes?" Jake repeated. "And you have the ability to produce this magic?" she wondered. "I guess that means that you are Asha." I grimaced when she said that word. It was a name that I'd heard around the city being used. I knew it was what the people had taken to calling Jake. "Asha?" Jake asked in my despair. "It means, predator," I clarified. "A rather nice way of putting it, but yes, technically it means predator," Selakar said, "but it doesn't matter. The insults of schoolchildren don't seem to do you justice. You're clearly no snarling beast or menacing spirit, and you bring an interesting proposal. I would like to hear your request." Jake seemed confused for a moment, but took it in his stride and explained. "I need someone to prepare me some specially made and most likely complex runes that can be placed on my weapons and armor. In return for your help with that, I'm willing to participate in a few experiments and give you a few dull jar of chaos mana for you to use as you see fit." The more Jake talked, the more Selakar seemed interested. "An enticing offer, but I have a few questions and potentially a few conditions," Selakar said calmly. "Okay, my first question is, why do you need these runes? What would their purpose be?" "Suma and I are leaving for the war in just a few days. I need them to protect her and myself, as well as the other soldiers," Jake explained. "War runes. Well, I suppose I can do something with that. I've made several runes for soldiers before. My next question is, how long will I have to perform the experiments and construct the runes? I know you said that you'll leave in a few days. I gather you'll need them by then," Selakar asked. "Yes, we leave in 5 days from now," Jake told her. "Will that be enough time to prepare the runes?" I asked Selakar, almost fluttered, seemingly forgetting that I was there after being so engrossed in a conversation with Jake. Well, that would depend on the runes themselves. I'll need time to design and craft them, as well as perform the experiments that you say you'll allow me to perform," Selakar said. "There is a, slight caveat," Jake said. "Any rune you make will have an inverted effect, so you'll have to account for that." Selakar's head snapped back to Jake as if it had told her the greatest or possibly worst news that she'd ever heard. "Are you saying that your mana can actually cause the rune to produce a different effect than it was designed for?" She sounded both confused and giddy. "Yeah, I was helping a blacksmith friend of mine named Seal, and when I activated the rune that controlled his furnace, instead of fire getting the metal hot, it froze it so cold that it shattered at the slightest touch," Jake said. "So the rune will produce flames, but instead of being hot, they remove the heat instead?" she asked, with wonder filling her eyes. "Exactly," Jake confirmed. "Amazing. So there exists some aspect of the runes that cannot be inverted, even with chaos magic. I would need to actually see the rune that your friend uses before coming to any conclusions or forming a proper theory. But this sounds extremely exciting, Selekar stated. You said you had some conditions, Jake wondered, snapping Selekar back to the conversation rather than her own imagination. Oh, right, she said, regaining her composure. My condition is that I want you to do the experiments first, to make sure that I have all the information I need to do the job right. Jake thought for a moment, and I opened up our private connection. Jake, what are you thinking? I asked. I think I should agree. It might take longer than we want, but I don't want to risk the runes fading when I need them. He replied to me and spoke aloud to Selekar. Okay, I agree. End of chapter. Chapter 48. Suma's point of view. Jake thought for a moment, and I opened up our private connection. Jake, what are you thinking? I asked. I think I should agree. It might take longer than we want, but I don't want to risk the runes fading when we need them. He replied to me, and then spoke aloud to Selekar. Okay, I agree. Excellent. Let's get started, Selekar said, and started to fly away. Follow me, she said, and turned the corner. She seems eager, I said hesitantly to Jake over our private channel. It'll be fine, he replied, though he didn't seem sure. I flew after Selekar, and Jake took his time walking. I landed beside her as she was moving equipment into place. So, what kinds of tests will you be doing? I questioned, concerned for Jake's well-being. First, I want to measure his life force density. That should help me predict what his upper mana limit is, as well as how quickly he can produce more, she explained. And how will you do that? I asked. With this, she said, and floated a large metal pylon up in front storage space below the floor. I will have him touch one end, then I'll activate a series of runes that'll produce an accurate to the Dalma measurement. Just as she finished saying that, Jake finally caught up with us. Honestly, I don't know how his species became a dominant life form on his planet if they were so slow. Are you ready to begin? She asked Jake. As I'll ever be, he said with a shrug of his shoulders and a nod of his head. Place your hands on the flat of the pylon and keep it there. Oh, and you might feel some slight, discomfort, she instructed. What do you mean by discomfort? Jake asked, nervous. Well, this has never been done on a member of your species, so I don't know how it'll affect you. But some Niema who do this experience side effects, such as numbness in the extremities, tingling, drowsiness, dizziness, and on the rare occasions loss of consciousness, she explained. Is this safe? Jake asked as he put his hand where she was instructed. No one has died, she said flatly, and started activating runes. Now, to be sure, you don't remove your hand, or we'll have to start over. Jake nodded. One by one, Selekar turned runes on and off, then back on. To me, it seemed almost like she was playing with them. She showed such joy in the pure interest of her work. She clearly loved what she did. The process went on for a few minutes, all the while the pylon changed from silver to green, then to much darker navy blue. Runes were beginning to appear just above Jake's hand. Slowly, more would appear one after the other until they'd reached almost to the top of the pylon. Okay, you're done. You can remove your hand now, she said. Thank goodness, my palm has been itching for 4 minutes now, he said and began to furiously scratch his hand. Are you feeling any other side effects? I asked. My teeth ache and I feel like I have to sneeze but can't. But other than that, no, he said. Fascinating, Selekar said, while staring at some kind of illusion being produced by one of the runes in the back of the pylon. It was an illusion of a rectangular block with words, letters, and numbers, writing along it. Your life force is 500 Kalma and 63 Delma. I predicted it to be high, but I didn't expect it to be a staggering figure. Which means, Jake asked, confused. Admittedly, I was lost too. That means you're just over 100 times stronger than an average Niema, and at least 5 times stronger than a court mage, she said. According to this, you have a mana reservoir of 915, which is 12.2 times the current record holder. I guess that's a lot, Jake said, and it sounded like disbelief. To put it into perspective, it is estimated that dragons would have been about twice as strong as you, Selekar said. I was shocked, but more than that, I was left with a single question. How did I ever manage to summon a being so much more powerful than myself? End of chapter. This is a special thank you to the one, the only, the legendary Eric Hino, who has become the only Tier 6 patron. I just want to thank the T5 patrons and channel members. Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnolds, Estrella the Dreamer, Tryagain95, Fudic Yol, Meridian117, Alithia, Jordan Bucksborn, Angry Marine, Albarden Gasta, and Barkey. Thank you very much. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed. There are links down below, both to support this channel and for the author of this fiction. Anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic one, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.